and it's another Friday afternoon turning into evening. Sunset is, I don't know if it's on the way, but we're certainly at golden hour. But it's time for our arrival walk around. So it's looking okay, a little bit dry. So this one might need its own bit of water. Then let's have a look at the more substantive bits. So starting to see grass and a few wildflowers coming up. The wildflowers hopefully from the sowing. It's still a bit of a rough area. I think it's going to be a while before this really recovers. But then our apple tree. Definitely some new, some dead, so a mix. Apple tree is definitely a bit of a target. My brother sent me a view of his, which have got sort of bags over them. This is looking really good. So I think this one's thriving, which is nice. And our bushes have got new growth. Yeah, our plums are spreading wide. So very wide branches reaching out to different areas of the sun. So that's going to give some nice shade and cover as it gets bigger. Also doing pretty well. Interesting, so we've lost quite a few leaves on this side. But this direction reaching that way is all pretty good. So I don't know if that's due to the light or just the soil maybe. But yeah, interesting shapes as well on that one. And as we go here, our sweet cherry. Growing, the leaves are a little bit downward facing, but I don't know enough about sweet cherry trees to know if that's normal. They don't look super strong, and looking at the base here, it's not necessarily the best break up, so it looks like it's maybe needs a bit of attention. Nice dark leaves, and then our final looking reasonably healthy. So that's looking pretty okay. Not great, but now we've got the watering options, we can give it a good go. This area is beginning to really pick up. We've got some good bush and fern growth in the middle, beginning to overtake some of that broken down wood, which is going to be really important. And as we come up here, so that's still definitely not in good shape on the corner. These are doing okay, not great, but okay. Oof. Yeah, so these are not surviving particularly well on the transplant, but this is looking like it's going to be a very healthy tree growing up. Might need to trim a couple of these back. But then as we get into this, it's looking reasonable. This sweet cherry is good towards the back. These are not doing so great. This way. Similar to there, the branches here are spreading very wide, which is probably good, but looks healthy. Maybe there's a bit more shadow here as well. So they've got protection from some of the trees there during the later afternoon. Looking not bad. We go down. Got some good low growth, which we're missing on some of the others. And it's nice and tall. Let's go to our final on this side of the apple tree. This one's definitely a mixed bag. Some really eaten up things at the side, but broadly okay. And then our originally planted tree, the rowan, the leaves are really beginning to come out. So this is looking very nice. That one beginning to come together. This one's an interesting one because it's bare all the way up, so it's probably quite good for some of the other growing trees. And then, you know, it makes you sick in the end. I don't know why you don't learn. This is beginning to come out as well. So we're going to get good grassing here. We've got some small pieces in there. But then, as we look in, lots of insects in this water. But at least some of these are looking okay. And looking reasonably healthy after a couple of weeks. So they're surviving, but we might want to move some of these more watery plants further down. Like that one's thoroughly fallen over. Yeah, it's interesting how much biological matter ends up in this water. I don't know if that's a problem or not for a permaculture pond. Probably not. I shouldn't be pulling stuff out. And then our final tree is not looking the most healthy, but it's not looking terrible. But if this one grows out, and I have high hopes for this one, because it's got a nice central point, and because it's a weeping willow, it'll give a lovely bit of shade on here as it goes up. I mean, these should grow reasonably well, the things around it, because even though the water level's going low, it's still very damp soil. But yeah, I think if I move a couple of ones in the pots down a bit, that will be a nice thing. It actually looks better on camera, I think, than it does outside. I don't know what you're eating, buddy, but it's probably gross. If you get your paws too muddy, you don't get to go on the bed. And then you see it more as you drive, but fields upon fields of rapeseed ready to be harvested from my very limited knowledge. We're seeing some of the bush grow up, but we're not seeing much of the seeds I've sown really in around here, which is a bit of a shame. Maybe they will, but once this area in particular is very muddy and torn up grows out, it'll make a big difference, I think, to the whole look and feel of this space. Merlin! You have so much nice water. It gives me a sense, at least, that if he's willing to drink from that water, it can't be too terrible smelling. Leave it! And our little bird box, I don't know if it's being used or not. And we're beginning to see some growth. So we've got a few bits of iceberg lettuce at the back. Not much else in here. Maybe a tiny bit of carrots beginning to do something. But over on this side, real progress. So lettuce there, maybe a couple of bits coming up in the middle there, which could be anything because of the move. Same in the small parts there, and then broccoli potentially. It's hard to tell, as this little man pulled it all apart and shook it all up, so it could be anything. But yeah, before lunch, plan is to get things watered, so we'll see how that goes. It's a reasonably nice day today. So it's getting the Merlin seal of approval. It's right at the tap, still not too sure from the official thing. I like the leaves on this come outside. Let's have a quick look how this is holding up. I need to look at the other pipe because that leaks. I think I may have to tighten up the connector. But this is good. We've got a little bit of leaking, but nothing serious. And then okay, that's fully popped out. So that's a real pain. Some minor bits of repair. Gotta say, the clamps are one of my favourite things I bought. I've not really had them before, they're incredibly useful. It's definitely greening up all around. It's nice. It's a happy dog. It's definitely starting to come together a bit more. On this side, the grass is growing out. I might shift where I put the initial fencing because this is essentially a drainage ditch. So not ideal where we are. And then we've got a lot of these, not 100% certain, but I think oak trees. Or saplings, so we'll check that. But that'll build up, so they are trees, they'll need trimming back a bit, and a few more, but broadly good. Really need it growing on that front line. It'd be great to have sort of a tree screen around the edging for a bit more privacy, and then more of an open space in the centre. But we'll see. So standing about here, if I build a cabin, the planning permission is on this hilly area. So as views go, it's pretty decent. You can see you've got the rapeseed fields down there, you've got down into where the fallen trees are. So I'm guessing we'd clear sort of this way a bit. Don't really want to lose any of the trees up here because we've got a couple of really nice trees. There's good shade here, but we'll see. And then the pond down on that side. Hey buddy. This triangular space has really started coming up. This way. It was very bare, a lot of the trees have been taken down. So we've got lots of saplings. And then out into the field. You can see the, I've said this before, but the trees taken down were some of the really sizable ones. Just on my little stone outcropping. that's my nearest neighbour down there. And then there's one part of the farm in that direction, but otherwise very quiet. And here's at least one of the culprits as to why this apple tree has holes in its leaves. Can't say my compost is going brilliantly at this stage, but just add some greens. So I've trimmed back a bunch of the ferns that are taking over what will be the walk up to where the grill cutter is eventually. And misuse eventually, very strongly, as I suspect that's a good couple of years away. But it's still a nice spot, so I might actually start by just putting a simple, cheap picnic table up there. Because it's well shaded, it's nice. Much as I want to get a proper barbecue spot, they're quite expensive. And it's going to be further down the way. So if I've got that, start getting the fencing in, look at getting the road or the gravel down to the pond and potentially up to there, and then obviously down towards the grill spots. I think as a target for this year that's going to be pretty good, because that gives me quite a lot of usable space. I do forget when I walk around and I go down the other side of the hill, I do forget how much extra room there is. It kind of keeps going and going. I'm very focused on this area, but I guess that's fine. I don't need to do everything all at once. It's hard to say how the pond's doing. A lot of the stuff's out of the water, as I've mentioned, and just reclaimed one fallen pot, but I have to check what it is, but the floating plant in the middle seems to be doing alright. It's being moved around, but that's definitely grown. So there's some general debris from like trees and stuff, but that isn't. And what we've got is looking reasonably healthy, even the ones, I mean not all of it. But broadly speaking it's going okay. Just an interesting problem with how much water we're actually losing as the weather goes on, and we're not even into summer yet. It's going to be interesting to see how this pond does when it's out and the weather's improved.